We've arrived at the British Grand Prix for round 5 of the season, and Toyota's race pace is looking strong after both Zvezky and Kobayashi put down some strong stints throughout practice. But the team will have to be cautious after suffering 2 engine failures in the last 2 rounds, especially considering Silverstone's high-speed nature. Lewis Hamilton arrives at his home Grand Prix leading the championship and in good spirits as the Mercedes continues to show great pace. Rumours have been circulating the paddock that should Lewis win his 8th championship this season, he may retire from the sport. And McLaren are hoping to reclaim their usual pace towards the front of the field after a disappointing result last time out in Imola, and it looks like they are on their way to doing that after setting some competitive lap times throughout practice. But that is all the news heading into round 5 here, so let's take a look at the grid rundown for the British Grand Prix.
So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. It's Carlos Sainz in pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Russell, Hamilton, Perez, Norris, Oscar Piastri, Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Kobayashi, Gasly, Benjamin, Bottas, Joe, Albon, Magnussen, Ocon, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Sargent, and Daniel Ricciardo fills the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat is Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching out for as they head into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
Hello everyone and welcome to part 5 of our F123 Toyota Road to Glory career mode here for this British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Lining up in 13th on the grid for this one, just behind Kobayashi. He's in P11 as we get underway for the formation lap. If you didn't see the last one last time out in Imola, make sure to go check that out. We had a great recovery drive after starting in last place, 22nd, and driving all the way up to P7 with a great strategy with the wet weather coming down as well, staying out and doing one less pit stop than everyone else to get ourselves into the points. So yeah, it was a very, very good race, very entertaining, lots of battling the entire way through, and hopefully it can be similar this time out, and we are starting further up the field in 13th obviously this time, so hopefully we have a bit of a better chance of finishing higher up in the order and scoring ourselves some more good points for the team, but hopefully potentially another double point scoring position like we had in Bahrain. That's the only one we've had so far, and so it'd be nice to see Kobayashi do that as well. He's just been struggling for pace a little bit and getting caught in traffic. Got a bit unlucky as well. Imola, he had an engine failure, and the round before that in Austria, we had an engine failure. So hopefully this time out in Silverstone, the fortune is a bit more on our side as we go to the 5 red lights. And we are underway for the British Grand Prix. It's a good launch. We immediately get ahead of Gasly on the right-hand side there, up into P12. And meanwhile, up ahead, Kobayashi and Alonso going side by side here. A little bit of wheel contact between them, but no damage. Luckily, it was a very, very light contact, and so we just sort of try and see if we can find a way through on anyone here. Gasly, you can see, puts his nose on our outside there for turn number 4, I believe this is, as we get back on the power before heading on to the straight. Alonso gets Kobayashi, but Kobayashi's had a bad line, so he goes defensive on us there, actually. I'm going to go to the outside. That'll give us the slipstream off the Aston Martin, and so into the braking zone. We're going to go a bit deep, hanging around the outside of our teammate. This is probably the last person I want to be battling with here in this race, but we do get the move done into P11, Kobayashi P12. So we've gained 2 spots. Kobayashi's lost 1, but for the team, it's a net gain overall as we quickly speed through this little section here to see Stroll and Alonso, the 2 Astons going side by side. There's a bit of contact as they go side by side through Maggots and Beckett's. Alonso gets the better off of the Canadian teammate there to get himself in a P9, Stroll P10, but that's given a very compromised run to the Astons as we head onto the hangar straight. We're going to pull it alongside Lance Stroll. We're also going to somehow have the straight line speed on Fernando Alonso, so we've got Stroll. We're going to hang it around the outside of Stowe on Fernando Alonso, the 2-time champion. We almost lose the rear end a little bit there on the exit, but in the end we do get it. We leave Alonso a bit of room. He tries to come back at us on the brakes actually, so it's not over yet. We go around the outside of the penultimate corner, and now the move is done into P9, the double overtake on the Astons there. Very, very fortunate. I don't know how that happened. We just had that bit of straight line speed compared to them. And yeah, so nice and deep on the brakes there. We were able to get the both of them from P11 up into P9. Meanwhile, up ahead, Lando Norris going for a move on Lewis Hamilton here. The two Brits at their home Grand Prix, both hoping to have good results. Lando tries to hang it around the outside. Has he kept it there? Not quite. Hamilton pulls it ahead, and for now, he holds that position over the younger Brit of Lando Norris there, as Oscar Piastri in the other McLaren looks right in behind him. So I'm sure that battle is set to continue further on. Meanwhile, Kobayashi, this still on lap 2. He is right in on the back of Lance Stroll. He's just seen us pull a double overtake on the Astons, and I'm sure he wants a slice of the pie as well, as he goes to pull alongside here into Maggots and Beckers, just like Alonso and Stroll did last time out. And he does get the move done there on Lance Stroll. So very good to see that Kobayashi has that bit of fight in him as we head here. Still on lap 2, the two Ferraris in 1 and 2, battling away for the lead of the Grand Prix. Sainz gets the better of Leclerc that time out. Remember what happened in Austria in the sprint race when the two Ferraris raced with each other. Leclerc ended up spinning and falling right down and out of the points-paying position. So hopefully, I'm sure they've gotten a talking to about that, and they won't be doing anything really risky this time. As we head to lap number 3 now. George Russell looking to make a move on Oscar Piastri, our fellow Aussie here, around the outside of Stowe. Similar move to what we made on Fernando Alonso just a couple laps ago. And he does get the move done there on the McLaren into P7. Piastri back down to P8. Meanwhile here on lap 4 now, the two Ferraris once again looks like they're going to be locked into battle. Sainz looking to get ahead of Charles Leclerc. They go side by side, and Perez, he's going to get the both of them with the help of DRS. He gets both Ferraris in one go there. He just got caught absolutely napping, battling away with each other, and they still are. So Perez goes from 3rd to 1st there down the straight. Meanwhile, Sainz and Leclerc still battling away with each other. This is exactly what Perez will want in the Red Bull, to pull a gap. Sainz does end up getting the move done on Charles Leclerc, but in the end, it's only to hold P2. Leclerc's dropped from 1st down to 3rd. Meanwhile, further back, Lando Norris is once again trying to pull a move on Lewis Hamilton. So it is all going on here at the start of this Grand Prix. Everyone looking really, really punchy to the inside of turn 3. Does Lando get it this time out? Not quite, unless he can hold it around the outside here. He's not quite able to, so he once again has to pull back in behind Lewis Hamilton. Meanwhile, looking at Kobayashi here on lap number 5, he's on the back of Fernando Alonso, so he's dispatched of the Aston of Lance Stroll. He's now going for the move on Fernando Alonso, same as he did on Stroll, except they're on opposite sides of each other this time, but it doesn't matter. Either way, Kobayashi gets the move done into P10, so we are once again in a double point scoring position for Toyota at the moment here on lap number 5. Meanwhile, Lando Norris now overtaken by George Russell. Well, the move is in progress for George, but can Lando hold on to it? He tried to attack Hamilton earlier on in the lap, but in the end, he's ended up losing position to the other Mercedes of George Russell. Meanwhile, at the same time as all of that was happening, here is Carlos Sainz going for a move on the Red Bull of Sergio Perez to retake the lead of the British Grand Prix, but is he able to actually get the move done? Perez is on the softs, Sainz on the mediums, and the Ferrari gets the position. So very good there. You can see Sainz very cleverly defends into the braking zone, so Perez not quite able to get the move done. But the virtual safety car actually comes out there, so I'm not too sure what that's come out for. We'll have to wait and see if we've got a replay here. Yes, we do. So this was, well, all of that was happening as well. A lot of it happening down the straight here on lap number 5. Stroll just behind Ocon and Magnussen. They actually both just overtook him, and he breaks his whole front wing off there on the side of him, as just sort of a 3 cars don't really go into one there. He's an onboard with the Aston Martin. You can see they go a bit wide, and Magnussen comes back towards the racing line. Just wasn't quite expecting Stroll to be there, and yeah, in the end, just a lot of debris on the track, and Lance Stroll has to come into the pit lane, and so it was just a minor VSC there, only lasted about half a lap, and so we are back underway. But somehow, I feel like we've actually gained from that, because we are about only half a second off of Oscar Piastri, so hopefully we can hang on to some DRS here and potentially close into this front pack. We run a bit wide there, just trying to push and make sure we are close to the McLaren. We do get the DRS, we're deploying battery to try and keep up, and hopefully we can just sort of get total on with that battle pack. Meanwhile now, a bit further back here on lap 6, Magnussen under attack by Valtteri Bottas. There's a lot of cars here. It's going to be 3-1 once again. Magnussen, Ocon, and Valtteri Bottas. Bottas does get it up into P14. Ocon holds it over Magnussen, and Albon was actually part of that battle as well, and that was Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri retiring from the Grand Prix. So that is a Red Bull powertrain in the back of that AlphaTauri, so it looks like they still haven't got those issues fixed. So I think that's so far 4 out of the 5 Grand Prix we've had so far this season, there has been some sort of power unit issue there for the Red Bull team. So yeah, I'm sure they'll be very worried about that, then as they should be, especially with Verstappen and Perez in second and fourth at the moment. They can't really afford to lose any points. They've lost so much already this season as Perez drives around Carlos Sainz to get himself back into the lead of the Grand Prix. Meanwhile, Verstappen actually under attack by Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen is on the mediums, so everyone around him does have that tyre advantage, at least for the moment. I'd imagine those mediums would come back into their own. But for now, Verstappen drops down to P5. He's got George Russell and Lando Norris right in behind him as well. And so for now, it looks like he's just sort of got to manage his race as we head to lap number 8 here. That's George Russell has actually gotten ahead of Verstappen at this point, and now Lando Norris is going to try and get ahead of him as well. Meanwhile, we're going for a move on Piastri. Does Verstappen have an issue? We've seen Tsunoda retire. Verstappen's going very slow. You can see the whole battle pack ahead has pulled away, and he's just getting overtaken left, right, and center. We're trying to get a move done on Oscar Piastri here. He kept it ahead of us through Stowe. We go for it on the brakes again, round the outside at the penultimate corner, and we do get the move done into P8. Piastri back down to P9 now. But Verstappen's in P7. I don't think the mediums are that bad. I mean, it's only just now, about 8-9 laps into the Grand Prix, that he's actually starting to get overtaken. So you would think he'd be getting quicker, not slower at this point. And you can see we're closing right up to him very quickly, and Lando is pulling away. So I think Max Verstappen has another problem here. I've had a look. He doesn't seem to have any aero damage at all. But look at this down the straight. Here we come. He goes defensive, so we'll go to the outside on the brakes, very deep there, around the outside of the reigning champion, and we get the move done into P7. So Verstappen has to have some sort of issue to be going that slow, and to the point where we've overtaken him, and everyone is pulling away from him as well as we look to the lead now. Sergio Perez still under attack by the Ferrari of Sainz. These guys are just swapping and changing every single lap, and yeah, it's just sort of keeping the pack very close. The Sainz very easily gets the move done this time out in lap number 9. Meanwhile, further back, Piastri going for the move on Verstappen, and you can see the gap that we've pulled to him already, and yeah, it certainly seems like there is something going on with that Red Bull. Verstappen has on numerous occasions now this season voiced his frustration with the team because he's just having issue after issue every Grand Prix, and he's right out of the championship fight at the moment. He's going to have a stellar second half of the season if he wants to get back into the championship fighting position. But for now, he's down to P9, and Kobayashi's only, he's actually within a second of him, so it'll be interesting to see if our teammate can get ahead of him as well. Meanwhile, Perez gets back ahead of Sainz. Hamilton's a part of that battle as well in the top 3. Lando Norris going for a move on George Russell once again to reclaim P5, and he does get the move done there on the Mercedes. So Russell back to P6. Meanwhile, I'm only about a second and a half behind these two, so hopefully something good can come of them battling, and we can potentially gain a position or two out of that. Meanwhile, Carlos Sainz to the inside of Copse. We haven't seen many moves there so far in this Grand Prix. Actually, I don't think we've seen any moves there in this Grand Prix. Hamilton's going to make it 3 wide into Maggots and Beckett's. I don't know where he got that speed from. I guess Perez and Sainz just slowed each other up through Copse so much. Sainz luckily backed out of it, and a safety car comes out while Hamilton and Perez are side by side, sort of saved by the bell there for Lewis Hamilton, as his nose was just ahead. And yeah, the safety car comes out. We're going to box this lap because we were meant to box, I believe, either this lap or the next lap. We were very close to having to come into the pit lane anyway. Here's what happened, though. It was actually in this front battle. You can see Sainz backs out of it, and Leclerc smashes into his teammate. He loses his front wing. Whenever the Ferraris seem to be near each other, something bad always seems to happen to one of them. So far this season, both times it's happened, it's been Leclerc that's been on the poorer end of the stick. You can see Sainz backs out of it because he must have just realised they were 3 wide, decided to get out of it, and Leclerc just wasn't expecting his teammate to slow down, and he's driven straight into the side of him and destroyed his front wing. Now, luckily for Leclerc, because it's a safety car, he should hopefully not lose too much time for his sake. But look at this, double stacking for the Ferraris and the Mercedes. The Red Bulls are double stacking because every single car in the field, not a single car has continued on. Every single car is pitting this lap. And that's going to hurt the medium tyre runners as well, because they are going to have to pit on the hards instead of going long and pitting for the softs. So effectively, everyone that's on the soft compound tyre to start the race has picked the right strategy because of this safety car. But look at how jumbled up the field is. Everyone has just been scattered everywhere from front to back. Some of the guys from the back have been pushed further up the front. It's a big mess at the moment, and we'll have to do an order check in just a lap's time when everyone's backed up behind the safety car to actually have a look where everyone is. But at the moment, we are in P4. We were in P7, and we've been very, very fortunate with that safety car timing and the pit lane chaos that was just going on. And yeah, we've been promoted up into just one position off the podium places there, up into P4. So we'll have a look at the order check now. On lap 13, Lewis Hamilton leads his home Grand Prix, the championship leader as well, by the way, in case I forgot to mention that. So far, he's leading the championship, and now he leads his home Grand Prix. Sainz sits second for the Ferrari, so he hasn't lost anything really from that whole skirmish that went on there. Norris sits in the podium positions in third. It's then myself, as I said, in P4. In a great position. If we could hold on to this, that would be absolutely incredible. And then just behind us, P5 is Sergio Perez. He was in second, remember. He was battling Hamilton for the lead when the safety car came out, so he got slightly held up in the pit lane. He's down to P5. Russell sits in P6, so he actually hasn't had anything happen to him. I'm pretty sure he was in P6 when the safety car got called out. Piastri sits P7. Alonso 8th. Verstappen still in 9th. And I'm sure he'll be praying that Red Bull can fix whatever issue he's got going on in the back of that car. He's on the hard compound tyres, though, as I said. Gasly rounds out the top 10, and Kobayashi sits just in P11 there, so he's lost a spot out of all of that. And then Leclerc all the way back to P12. He's very lucky the safety car got called out there to still be in P12 and within a chance of getting the points paying position. But as I was saying, a couple cars that were on the medium, so Sainz and Verstappen are the two that I definitely know of. I know there were a few more as well, though I just can't remember who. They start on the mediums. They've had to pit onto the hards, and so they're going to be slower than everyone else for the entire rest of this Grand Prix. Those hard compound tyres are very hard and not the greatest in terms of race pace. So we get underway here on lap 14 for the restart. No overtakes really anywhere to be seen. We're all spread out a little bit, but I'm sure that'll change as we all start really pushing and deploying all of the battery that we've got. As you can see, we are right on the back of Lando there. As we now head on to the hangar straight, we're going to deploy battery, and look at this straight line speed we've got compared to the McLaren. We're going to go to the outside as he goes defensive into Stowe. Around the outside, can we keep the position? He just gets a slightly better run through the corner, but on exit we deploy more battery. We're side by side in the braking zone, where he's going to try and hold it for the penultimate corner, but around the outside, like we've done a couple times so far this race, and we do hold it and get ourselves in the third place. Hamilton sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix there on the safety car restart lap as he just pulls his lead away at the moment as he tries to solidify that position. Sainz is second still, but this was at the same time as all that. Kobayashi going 3 wide with Leclerc and Gasly there, and Kobayashi actually comes out on top, so he moves himself from 11th to 10th. Leclerc's moved himself from 12th to 11th, and Gasly dropped 2 positions in one go there into Stowe. Meanwhile, looking at Kobayashi still now on lap 15, going for a move on Verstappen, so it looks like Verstappen's still got whatever issue it is, because he's lost a massive gap, nearly 2 seconds already in just a lap and a half, so Kobayashi gets himself up into P9. Meanwhile, look at this, the straight line speed we got. It must be the setup, not actually the McLaren. It must have just been our setup. He's very good in a straight line. We flew up on the Ferrari there, down the hangar straight. We're going to have to hold it around the outside. We haven't done it around the outside yet here so far. Down the inside for the penultimate corner. We'll go side by side into the final corner. I just get the sausage curb there. Have to have a massive save on the car. We were very lucky not to loop it there. And then just behind us, Norris and Russell continue their battle here for what is now 4th and 5th. Russell gets a position done on the McLaren. Meanwhile, the battle between myself and Sainz continues here for 3rd and 2nd. We have to just tuck in behind, unfortunately, there. We don't get the move done, but that does mean we should hopefully now have the run down the straight into the big left-hander. See, he tries to go defensive, but we were just done way too quickly with the help of DRS as well. We're up into P2. Can we potentially close in on Hamilton for the win? I'm not too sure about that. Hamilton is very quick in that Mercedes. I think we were just very lucky to be in the position we're in and getting the slipstream, because you can see we're not really pulling away here on lap 17. Russell goes for a move on the Ferrari, and Sainz makes a little error there, and so Norris slips through as well into P4. Piastri and Perez are in on this battle as well, so Sainz is definitely falling behind with those hard compound tyres. Unfortunately, the strategist has not worked out there for the Ferrari. Not really because of their own fault. It was just unlucky for them that the safety car came out as Perez goes for a move into Copse, just like Sainz did on Perez before the safety car period that caused this whole thing, really. Now they go side by side through Maggots and Beckett's. Perez does get the move done on the Ferrari, and now Oscar Piastri, I'm sure, will be looking to get a move done as well, as we now head through Copse here on lap 17. Here comes George Russell. He's in behind us. He's going to go for a move on us on Maggots and Beckett's as well. We're going to go side by side, but the Mercedes, just with a slightly better line there, does get the position on us. And as I tried to set up the corner, we have a massive tank slapper. I don't know how we caught that. We were holding on for so long there. And that actually, Norris did close in on us, but he had to actually check up And so that means Checo is going to go for a move into Stowe, round the outside. Can he get the position off of the McLaren into the braking zone? They're going to go side by side here, into the left, into the right, round the penultimate corner. The outside is usually the better line there, and this time that does still ring true. Perez gets the move into P4. Meanwhile, further back, Verstappen losing heaps of place. He just lost out to both Alpines in one go, and he's going very slowly here. Everyone's going past him. It's another engine failure for Max Verstappen here in Silverstone. Absolutely, this man has zero luck this season. I don't really know what else to say. That is just insane. He had engine problems in Australia. He had a failure in Austria. He had another issue in Bahrain, and now another failure here. So out of 5 rounds, in 4 of them, he has had an engine issue. He is not going to be happy whatsoever. We know what Max is like. He is not going to be happy with the team, with anything, with the world at this moment right now, because, yeah, I don't know how he can pull back any championship hopes at this point of the season with the way that everything's gone. As you see there, we just saw Leclerc making a move on Fernando Alonso. Meanwhile now, on to lap 19. Look at the closing speed we just had on the Mercedes there as we send it on the brakes into Stowe, trying to fight back for P2. Hamilton's now got a 5-second lead on us, so yeah, he's absolutely gone at the moment, unless we stop battling, which I can't imagine to be the case. Yeah, this battle's going to keep going. You can see this time, I don't make the same mistake. I make sure to leave room on the inside to not hit that sausage curb as we go side by side into turn 1. Normally, very close to being flat out turn 1 there, but side by side, you do not want to be doing that. As Russell goes deep on the brakes around the outside there. We might not get it. We'll try and hold it around the outside here, but in the end, actually decide to cut back and try and keep under the rear wing of the Mercedes, deploying battery straight away. We've got the DRX, and we're going to fly past the Brit at his home Grand Prix there on lap number 20 to get back into P2, but I doubt this battle is over. And actually, look at that, DRS failure. So we won't have DRS to help us from now on. Luckily, it happened just after the rear flap closed, because you do not want to be going through these very fast sweeping corners with that DRS wing open. Hopefully that gets fixed though, because that's sort of been our saving grace at this point, but that's 2 rounds in a row now. We've had a DRS failure, so I'm not too sure what's happening with the reliability of this Toyota. The 2 first rounds were fine, and then we had an engine failure in Austria. Kobayashi had an engine failure in Imola, and we had the DRS failure in Imola, and now we've got another DRS failure here in Silverstone as we have another massive moment there onto the hangar straight, and that's going to allow Russell to come right up alongside us now as we go into Stowe once again. This battle just never seems to end here as we go to the inside. He flies around our outside though. We deploy some battery. We don't have much left, but we're going to try and keep it alongside the Brit. He jumps over the inside curb. We were very lucky not to make contact there with George Russell. Luckily, I just saw it coming and swerved away from the Mercedes. And actually, he's had a poor run there. So now Perez tries to get ahead of him into turn 1. He does get it done. So Perez into P3 for now. Russell tried to get the move done into P2. He's ended up dropping down to P4 here on lap 21. But Perez isn't just going to stop there, obviously. He's going to come for us. As we do, you can see at the bottom right, the little caution symbol is gone. So our DRS is fixed, but Perez coming at us as into Stowe here at the end of lap 21. We're going to go side by side once again here. This seems to be the popular battle zone for this Grand Prix. Perez, does he get the move done? I'm going to try and hold it on the Red Bull. He's got around the outside, and he's just going to hold position over us there, and he gets himself up in a P2. Can we try and keep it with the Red Bull? Though, as Russell goes to our inside now for turn 1, but he backs out of it. We hold on to P3 for now. This would be incredible if we could get our first podium position here in our first season in Toyota's return to Formula 1. Russell just tucked in behind us, and we are tucked right in behind Perez. We're very lucky for the DRS to be fixed at this point, because that is going to allow us to re-attack the Red Bull here down the straight. You can see he goes to the defensive, so we're going to go to the outside. Can we get him on the brakes? He's going to try and dive it back at us. I was going to say we don't even need to because we were ahead, but we get slightly too wide on the braking zone, and so we ran off track. Perez slipped his way back through, and so for now we're going to have to tuck back into the slipstream. Smartly try to use our overtake to just stay close. I don't want to use it all here. I think about going for a move into Cops. I back out of it there. I take the responsible decision to back out of it and wait for a move down the hangar straight. So I'm going to tuck right in behind the Red Bull, getting as close as you dare through Maggots and Beckett's, because I don't want to lose touch with him in the dirty air. You can see he does pull away a little bit because obviously, as I just said, dirty air, but we are close enough for DRS here down the straight. Look at the closing speed. We got DRS, we got slipstream, we got a bit of battery to deploy deploy, but in the end, I don't even think I did there, and we get ahead into Stowe, back into second place for now. Hamilton now has a 10-second lead on us. There is no way we're closing that in unless he has some sort of issue, which we can always, you know, slyly hope for to get our first race win. That would be absolutely insane, but I'm doubtful that'll happen as Russell goes for a move on Perez into Maggots and Beckers like we've seen a few times in this Grand Prix, and he gets it done on the Red Bull, but Perez is going to be right in behind him. Will he go for the re-overtaking maneuver down the hangar straight into Stowe? Russell sort of puts it in the middle of the track. Perez tries to go for it. Norris was looking for a way through as well. It's all heating up here with 2 laps to go at this point. After these couple corners, it'll be 2 laps to go, and everyone is starting to get a bit fighty here. Sort of getting a bit antsy, trying to get these moves done. You can see even Kobayashi at this point is a part of this battle, so it's not just myself. The Toyota seems to have some wicked pace around the Silverstone circuit as our teammate finds himself in this battle for podium positions as well. So, very good to see Kobayashi has that pace about him as we head to what is now the final lap of the Grand Prix. Sergio Perez under attack by Lando Norris. Norris wants a podium position here at his home Grand Prix. Tries to go around the outside of the Red Bull. Does he get it done? Yes, he does. Into P4. Perez tries to hang it around the outside, but he's not quite able to get it. So Norris into P4 ahead of the Mexican, who's now back down to P5. So Red Bull's race has gone slightly sour here in the second half as Verstappen retires and Perez goes from fighting for the win to now trying to hold P5 as Russell tries to go down our inside into Maggots and Beckett's. I said absolutely not to that, and he's going to have to try and use the DRS down the hangar straight here. So we're going to have to use everything we've got down this straight to hold on. We've got a little bit of battery, but not a lot. So we're going to deploy everything we've got down towards Stowe. He gets his nose ahead, but in the braking zone, I just send it there. Hamilton wins his own Grand Prix here in Silverstone, but we are still side by side with the Mercedes. He goes over the inside curve like he did a few laps ago, and because of that, he's had a poor run. We're going to hold on to P2. It's going to be an incredible finish here for our first podium in Formula 1.
Top job, mate. Top job. Yes. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but man, you pulled through. Thank you. Well done.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners.
So here we are with the results of the British Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton wins his home race there by 16 seconds. He takes a fast lap point with him as well, and he's looking very dominant this season. It's in myself, incredible finishing position for us here at Toyota to be on the not just the podium, but second place as well, in a fantastic epic battle there for the podium positions, and Russell was in third place. Kobayashi ended up down in P9 in the end there. Lewis Hamilton leads the championship by 26 points now, so he's got a good lead ahead of Carlos Sainz, who's in second place. Russell sits third. Perez is the highest Red Bull in fourth. Verstappen down in seventh, 58 points away from the lead at this point. As I said during the race, he will not be happy at the moment. It's myself in 8th on what is now 30 points, so great for us. Kobayashi in P12 on 4 points, so good to see another points scoring finish for our teammate. Mercedes leads the Constructors by 44 points over Ferrari. Red Bull in third, 73 points adrift from the championship lead. It's then McLaren fourth, and ourselves here for Toyota, moving ahead of Aston Martin to be P5 on 35 points. And we've got a nice lead over them as well now, as they're on 12 points in 6th. And it's still AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo that are yet to score any points in this championship. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this episode and want to see more content like this in the future, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.